everybody, Jarvis, Greer, Michael Wallace. This is your holiday Grizz beat update. The Grizzlies are on the road and are doing very well. But I tell you what, Michael, these last couple of games, there was really something going on in New Orleans, and the Grizzlies had it cooking in Atlanta. And, you take 2-0 on this road trip any day of the week.
You definitely take 2-0 on this road trip. I mean, you started Saturday in Atlanta. You set your season high with 76 points in the paint. And then you come back to New Orleans with another miraculous, historic comeback victory. I mean, to come back from 13 down in the fourth quarter to beat the Pelicans a week after you came back from 24 down in Ja's first game back from a 25-game suspension. Man, what is this team? This is a new team now, Jarvis.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a new team that the Grizzlies have out here. Speaking of new team, Ja Morant, of course, back. Marcus Smart making his debut last night against the Pelicans here in New Orleans. And, wow, 29 minutes comes in starting. Just 4 of 10 from the field, but the shots that he did make were awesome. But the thing is, his defense, especially down the stretch, just incredible.
I mean, 5 steals. This is a guy that came in the final 3 minutes of that game against the Pelicans, picked up where Vince Williams Jr., who had started the last handful of games.
Almost didn't want him to come out of the game.
I didn't want him to come out. I was trying to figure out when I saw the substitution, okay, who is Taylor going to sit down? But credit Marcus Smart because he called it. This was the first game that he's played in almost 5 weeks because of the mid-foot sprain. So, one day Ja Morant comes back from his suspension, comes out and hits the game winner on the offensive end. The next time Marcus Smart comes back from missing almost 6 weeks, and he does it defensively. The Grizzlies had 6. You talk about the 17 block shots.
Right. I think that's a record on the road for this Grizzlies.
On the road, franchise. 17 block shots, 10 steals. 27 stocks that had to overcome 18 turnovers. But the way this team is playing, they can beat you any kind of way, offensively, defensively. What did you see? What did you see from this team? Because, again, we saw the first 25 games, they didn't play like this. They weren't this multiple. They weren't this deep. But now we're seeing a different version of the Grizzlies.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the first time since Ja has come back, I saw them kind of revert back to the three-point shooting. It's like we're going to the fair and we're going to shoot jack up as many threes. They had 46 three-point attempts with 2 minutes left in overtime. Way too many. But then they finally started going to, I called him in last night's game, the forgotten man, Jaren Jackson Jr., getting the ball in the post and let Tripp work.
He definitely did work. I mean, he was the guy that was last to the party offensively. He wasn't having a great game, but in the fourth quarter in overtime, Jaren Jackson Jr. knew he had a matchup that he could take advantage of. He was aggressive. He went to the hole, and he made free throws. Now, it went to overtime because he missed the second end of 2 free throws, but at the end of the day, Jaren Jackson did what he had to do. And now you're talking about what you're seeing from Jaren, what you're seeing from Dez, what you're seeing from Ja, and now you got Marcus back. Now the bench is restoring itself a little bit, and we're only a couple more days, maybe a couple more games away from being even healthier when you talk about Luke Kennard, you're talking about Derrick Rose. I mean, you're having guys that can come back and help this team big time.
And you asked me earlier about what I saw from this game. Other than shooting a lot of three-pointers in the first half, you're seeing this team now believing that it can win no matter what. Yeah. We saw during
no matter where.
And no matter where. That's correct. We saw early, the team got dejected, with all those guys out and the losing starting to mount up. It was not much fun going to FedEx Forum, and going into games, you got both hands and one leg tied behind your back. But now you got your pieces back, and it's starting to make more sense. The puzzle pieces fit together when you call 12 and put him back on the court. It just makes everything work that much smoother.
And what a time to do it. This is a holiday season. Jaren Jackson Jr. told us weeks ago that Christmas was going to come early on December 19th when Ja Morant came back. Marcus Smart is back the game after Christmas, right? He's the game after Christmas. Luke Kennard, Derrick Rose could be on the runway to come back right before as you head into the new year. And now you're dealing from a full deck. Now you're looking at, okay, let's look at the standings. Let's start to figure out how these next 20 games can go and where we need to be. They beat the Pelicans twice. Yes. That's a team that's firmly in the playoff mix, so you know what the Grizzlies are capable of doing. Now, Jarvis, I want us to look at the rest of this trip, though, because this trip, I mean, I don't know if you can put together a tougher back-to-back than what the Grizzlies will be facing, on Thursday against the Denver Nuggets, defending NBA champions who are difficult to beat at home. And then you got a game right after that on Friday against, obviously a team that's gotten much better in the Los Angeles Clippers.
Right.
A back-to-back traveling from Denver to L.A., 2 teams that are hot, 2 teams that know what they're doing. the Grizzlies will have their hands cut out for them these next two.
Yeah, going to Denver, one thing you got to hope that the Grizzlies remember when they were so shorthanded early in the season, one of the best games they played was against the Denver Nuggets at FedEx Forum. I think was it just a 2-point defeat. It went down to the end. You had a shot in the air. I think they could have won the game. If you get that kind of effort, now you have the pieces that can actually play. They were playing with guys, they were so far down the bench they couldn't even see sunlight in that game. Now you got pieces that can get something done. They will be on the court, and this team, I don't believe they care who they play, where they play. They have a belief in themselves that this is the Memphis Grizzlies that everybody wanted to see going into this season.
Yeah, and I leave it back to what Ja Morant told me after the game against the Pelicans.
You talked to Ja Morant personally?
I talked to him personally on the
he got it going like that. The man got it going like that. I hear you.
But Ja said, listen, man, this is about, and I congratulated him on winning Western Conference Player of the Week. Let's make sure we point that out. Ja Morant, Grizzlies are 4-0 now with the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week. And Ja said 30-point games in 3 of the 4 games that he's been back. And Ja said the thing that thrills him the most right now is the fact that his teammates are just as happy to have him back and make him feel comfortable as he is coming back to lead them. Know what I'm saying?
I'm happy.
It could be uncomfortable, though, because of what they've been through and the injuries and everything. He just feels the joy that his presence is bringing. So he wants to bring that to the team every single night, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing how far the Grizzlies can take this. I know you are too.
Yes.
We're not in the studio for Grizz Beat this week. We're out. It's holiday season, so we want to wish you guys Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. But Grizz Beat is always going to be right with you every time you see this guy here.
Oh, yeah.
The Grizzlies are going to be doing something big, and we can't wait to see you guys back in studio next week.
Yeah, we want everybody to make sure you join in Grind City Media to see Grizz Beat. Of course, Michael Wallace and myself will be manning the helm, and we'll have all kind of guests coming on in the future. Grizz going on the road. Michael Wallace, you're going to be out in Denver and L.A., right?
I'm going to finish this trip out. I'm going to Denver. I'm going to L.A., and then we'll be back home next week for a 3-game homestand, and we'll both be back in the studio next week as well. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll be right there to tell you about it. Happy holidays, everybody. From the road, Grizz Beat, Jarvis, Greer, Michael Wallace. We'll see you back in Memphis.